All deep state roads lead to former President Barack Obama. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. At the end, comment and let us know what you think.
In the name of Yahweh Elohim, the King of the universe, and Yeshua HaMashiach, also known as Jesus the Christ, our beloved Savior and Redeemer, Shalom. Welcome to our new program series, The Kingdom Report. I'm Yeshua ben Yeshua of the Kingdom of Israel Community Network. The purpose of the Kingdom Report is to analyze news and current events in the light of biblical prophecy. But before we get to the news, I need to give you some background information at the outset of this first report to set the tone and context for the program. When it comes to whether or not we're living in the end times, the vast majority of us would say yes. The signs are everywhere and in the news on a daily basis. But when it comes to mainstream news, with the exception of the Fox News channel, the events of the day are consistently presented from a prophetic doomsday point of view. This is no coincidence. As a matter of fact, the connection between the deep state and the media-driven Bible prophecy coming from corporate Christianity is becoming more and more obvious to those of us who have awakened to the truth. It seems that much of America has fallen for this big lie, this grand illusion that says that the globalist push for a one-world government is somehow a pathway to enlightenment. And these churches, organized under the 501c3 corporate blueprint, have miseducated the masses by teaching that this one-world government agenda will eventually succeed. And this will lead to the coming of the, quote, Antichrist, who will rule the world for 7 years and be given power over the saints of the Most High. It's very clear that this is the main reason why it's so hard for most of us to properly interpret real news as it unfolds. And despite the fact that the shadow government is being exposed and dismantled right before our eyes, rather than edifying and encouraging the saints, the false prophecy coming from the corporate church has caused the sincere seekers of truth to become divided and confused, even to the point where we actually deny what we see with our own eyes, based on the lies being fed to us by fake news. And we all know who the author of this confusion is. KYCN Media is deeply dedicated to bringing you the real truth on what's actually taking place from a true Hebraic understanding of end-time prophecy. It's time to set the record straight, family, on how the news and events of the day actually fit into the end-time prophecies themselves, rather than this bogus doomsday rhetoric being pushed by mainstream media. Now let's get into the news. At this point, as you know, most of the mainstream news platforms are focused on President Trump, and of course on pushing the idea that he's a racist, fascist, homophobic, misogynistic white nationalist who's leading America backward rather than forward. Now, as we all know, the 2-year investigation into whether the president colluded with Russia to win the White House has been thoroughly vetted and disproven, and has now shifted into a new phase where the globalists are themselves now being forced to play defense. With last week's declassification of key documents by President Trump, including the phony FISA warrants that triggered the Mueller investigation to begin with, the focus has turned to the key players responsible for this treason attempted coup of the President of the United States. The names Comey, Clapper, and Brennan, who are the former heads of the FBI, National Intelligence, and the CIA, respectively, have become household words and continue as the main focus of the fake news. The news stories covering these men, along with the Obama administration and FBI officials Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, Eric Holder, Susan Rice, and others, including former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, are being broadcast around the clock. But from a prophetic point of view, and ultimately in terms of rooting out the lies and cover-ups, clearly, these men and women all have one thing in common: their boss, the commander-in-chief, former President Barack Obama. From his emergence on the national stage in 2004 to this day, President Obama has been consistently characterized by the bought and paid for mainstream media as a black messiah destined to lead America to greatness. But in hindsight, it seems that this was nothing more than a devious plan on the part of the shallow state to lull the American people to sleep while they conducted some of the most egregious and treasonous acts in American history. And from a prophetic standpoint, the presidency of Barack Obama, the would-be messiah and supposed first black president, lies at the heart of the nefarious globalist agenda. And now, with the investigative shoe on the other foot, even mainstream news sources are beginning to re-examine the legacy of the former president beyond the fixed media narrative of the last 15 years. Earlier this month, the Washington Times published a scathing indictment of the former president by Times staff writer Todd Wood. Wood's analysis opinion piece is part of a news trend looming on the horizon and about to break wide open. Let's take a look. The article is entitled, "Barack Obama was an evil president." It reads like this: "The left doesn't want to admit it. However, the more time goes by, the more we need to realize that Barack Obama was an evil president. I say this because it's clear Mr. Obama attempted to destroy one thing that separates America from most of the world and provides for its overwhelming success: the rule of law. Mr. Obama used the federal government as a gangster army to attack people he didn't like or that stood in his way for the left's thirst for overwhelming power. He used the agencies of the federal government to spy on its citizens, oppress and intimidate the political opposition, and even manipulate our elections. This will have devastating consequences for generations of Americans to come, for its foundation has been shaken. In addition, he purposefully weakened our national security, promoted an Islamist political ideology domestically and around the world, and attempted to radically change our demographics by importing millions upon millions of third world citizens that have no intention of believing in the principles America was founded upon. He hurt us, and we may not recover. Over the next few months, the truth about Barack Obama and his corrupt administration will be revealed. We will be shocked at how deep the rabbit hole of deceit and criminal behavior actually goes. The media will attempt to spin it, of course, but the American people will see through their lies. The Democratic Party will not recover for a long time. The Democrats know this, and this is why they are throwing everything they have at Attorney General William Barr to bring him down before he finds out what really happened and exposes it for the world to see. Yes, Barack Obama was an evil president. We may not be able to save America, but we have to try. We have to stand behind President Trump. I, for one, believe in miracles. It's interesting to note that Todd's article ends with the phrase, "I, for one, believe in miracles." Surely, the prophetic connection between the nationalist movement around the world and a belief in the power of the Almighty Yah is becoming increasingly clear. For more on Todd Wood's comments on Obama's seditious actions as president, here's an excellent report from Breaking News, a leading alternative news source based on Wood's spot-on analysis of the true legacy of President Barack Obama.
Washington Times. America really did have a Manchurian candidate in the White House, and his name was Obama. In its Sunday, July 1st, 2018 editorial section, the Washington Times ran an opinion piece under the headline, "America really did have a Manchurian candidate in the White House." Granted, it's only the Times of Washington and not New York, but still it signals a major inflection point in the reporting of the man who convinced millions of Americans he was the Messiah, Barack Obama. The piece is authored by Todd Wood, who's a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy, was a special operations helicopter pilot, and later spent 18 years trading emerging market debt on Wall Street. Wood's analysis, written for a recognized news outlet, actually begins the process of vindicating so many sites like ours that were labeled as conspiracy nuts and fake news when we reported facts that the mainstream media simply ignored. Such is the power of the mainstream media. Woods points out that the amazingly productive first 17 months of Donald Trump's presidency made the treasonous actions of former President Obama so much more obvious. Wood wrote, "I'm struck by the realization that America really did have a Manchurian candidate in the White House for 8 years. The speed with which Trump has been able to turn things around points to the diabolical depths the Obama administration went to in order to undermine our national strength and way of life. All Trump had to do was stop doing things that hurt America. America could then take care of itself. The results are plain as day. However, it will take decades for the Obama damage to be completely undone. The deviousness of the Obama sedition runs deep. Let that roll around in your mind for a bit. All Trump had to do was stop doing things that hurt America. America could then take care of itself." Wood then lists a number of Obama's policy decisions that in total can only be labeled sedition. He irresponsibly pulled all American troops out of Iraq knowing that instability would follow. He shackled our military field commanders, making the fight against ISIS unwinnable. President Trump proved this when he took the handcuffs off and defeated ISIS in a matter of months. He ordered the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi after Gaddafi agreed to give up his nuclear weapons, making Donald Trump's task that much more difficult in getting North Korean Chairman Kim Jong-un to accept the word of an American leader. Obama basically installed the Muslim Brotherhood on the throne in Egypt until the Egyptian military took control back from them. The so-called Arab Spring, the destabilization of the Middle East and North Africa, and Obama's refusal to confront Bashar Assad after his use of chemical weapons all defy any sense of logic. And domestically, Obama never passed a budget. He ran up more debt than all of our previous presidents combined. He left the military depleted in both manpower and material. He turned the IRS into a political weapon. He turned the EPA into a political weapon. He turned the CIA into a political weapon. He turned the DOJ into a political weapon. He turned the FBI into a political weapon. He did nothing to stop Russian meddling in our election. And with trade, he fomented the massive imbalance that left vast areas of our country devoid of jobs and shipped our money elsewhere. He allowed Chinese companies to demand ownership interest in American investments in China, and with it the transfer of trillions of dollars worth of proprietary technology. Uranium One, Skolkovo, the transfer of cyber technology to Russia. And then there was the coup de grace of the anti-American activity was the JCPOA. Or to say it another way, the agreement to give Iran everything it wanted, including nuclear weapons and money, lots of money, which it immediately used to further destabilize the region, and existentially threatened the only democracy in the Middle East, Israel. The list is almost endless, and because of the speed with which Donald Trump turned things around, almost entirely without the help of Congress, serves to accentuate just how determined Obama had to have been to destroy America.
What a powerful report from a clear example of the new media reality that the quote conspiracy theorists, the deplorables, and the religious fanatics who research, write, and deliver the news based on truth and justice are now the news. With the real colluders and obstructionists finally being brought to justice, the way is being made plain for the path of the righteous and for those whose steps are ordered of the Lord. All I can say to that report is well said, and praise Almighty Yah and Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus, for shining down upon us in this glorious prophetic season of awakening. The true reporters and citizen journalists of America, like Breaking News and many others who provide us with real news by divine providence, are being elevated to the very forefront of the news media. I, for one, am overjoyed to witness this sea change in American journalism and the reverberations that are sweeping the planet even as we speak. Truly, my dear brothers and sisters, above and beyond the collapsing corporate propaganda machine being passed off as truth tellers, we, the saints of the Most High, are beginning to possess the kingdom, even as it is written. Stay tuned, saints, as we continue to bring you the true prophetic understanding, as we break down and analyze the news as it relates to biblical prophecy. Until next time, this is Yeshua ben Yeshua reminding you to stay vigilant and stay blessed. And remember, it's kingdom time. Shalom.
If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and bell icon and receive instant notifications from KYCN Radio so you'll never miss new uploads. Enjoy your day, and thanks for watching.